I remember the last time I decided to leave my job. Oh my goodness, there was a lot going on because I'd been there for a long time and it was a tough decision. But I did some things right, I think, that really were helpful as I look back. And one of the things was I communicated early to my boss that this is what I was thinking. In fact, I'll never forget the lunch I had with my boss. I'd known him for a long time, and I said, hey, I need your blessing. I'm actually getting ready to leave. And I said this, I said, if you can't give me your blessing, I'm still leaving. I mean, I was to that point where I knew it was time for me to leave. And we'd been friends for a long time and had worked together for a long time. And he said, you definitely would have my blessing and we'll do anything we can to help you. So that was really good. So what do you do when you're thinking about leaving your job, or not just thinking about it? If you go back to what we talked about yesterday, I gave you 5 ways to know it's time for you to quit. I mean, it's time for you to move on. If those things are true and you fall into that group of the U.S. workforce right now, remember the statistic yesterday, 55% of you, according to the research or the statistics out, maybe it's just a tweet, I don't know where it came from, but 55% of Americans looking for another job right now. What do you do when you're looking for it? What are some of the things? So one of the things I'd say, I'm going to give you 3 or 4 things here to think about, be real short, but one of the things I would tell you is to communicate. I mean, have that open conversation with your boss, with the people that you work with when it's time. Have the right conversation in the right way at the right time. Now, I understand sometimes you can't say I'm looking for a job or I'm doing this. You got to do that right. But when it's time to communicate, make sure you communicate in the right way with the right heart. So that'd be probably the first thing I would say is just make sure there's good open communication. Secondly, though, I'd go back to a couple things. You probably heard this before, probably even thought about it before, but don't burn any bridges. Don't burn any bridges. The hardest part of leaving your job is not really even probably going to be the work. It's going to be the people. I believe with all my heart that people are more important than products, whatever it is, whatever business you're in, the people are what really matter most. And so who you work with is a really important thing. Yesterday we talked about, some of you may need to leave your boss, may need to leave your position, may need to leave your talent's no longer needed. I mean, whatever it is going on, don't forget that the people that you work with, they matter. They're your friends. Sometimes you might even be working with your family, maybe leaving a family business. I don't know, but don't forget the people part. Don't burn any bridges. Some of the people that I'm really close to today are people I used to work with in other places. I mean, even go back 30, almost 40 years to some of the people I work with are still friends today. And so I think about those bridges. If I need to pick up the phone and call somebody, it's really easy to do. And you want to be that way too. You don't want to just leave and burn any bridges. The second thing I would say, I really learned this from one of the guys on my team, a guy that helps me with technology and stuff. And it's this: set up your successor for success. When he left his previous job and came and joined my team, I was blown away when he told me about some of the things he had done to set up his successor for success. He had created systems and checklists and all kind of things. There was really no way. It was almost like transition for dummies, I would call it. Like that's the way you want to be thinking. You want to make sure that you leave that place in the right way with the right heart. And one of the things that you can do to make sure that happens is create systems and processes and things. If they need to call you later, you want to make sure that the person who takes your place is set up to do better than you did. That's the way a servant leader would think. And so set up your successor for success. And then the third thing, this is the last thing I would tell you, is just it's something my mom told me when I was a kid. And I think this really, if you're thinking about leaving your job or you are leaving your job, my mom's advice is great advice. And it's this: if you can't say anything good, don't say anything at all. What's going to happen is when you go out, you're going to be tempted when you leave to justify your decision or justify your actions. And if you're not careful, it's easy to look back and say, well, this could have been better or that could have been better. And if you can't say anything good about your former place of employment, just keep your mouth shut. You don't need to say anything if you can't say anything good. And I think that's just a really good reminder for us. In fact, I've been gone for almost 8 years now from the job I left. And I had somebody just last week ask me about something in our community, and I recommended to them you should go to the place where I used to work. That's where you want to go. I mean, they'll take really good care of you. So I want you to think about where it is you're leaving. If you can't say something good about that place, and sometimes we have to leave and it's toxic, it's not good. Maybe you are being poorly led. Some of those things we talked about yesterday. Maybe you don't believe in the vision anymore, whatever. If you can't say something good about that, just stay quiet. You really don't have to say anything. But But once you leave, don't burn any bridges. Make sure you communicate on the front end. If you can't say something good, don't say anything at all. And then I think it's really good to set up your successor for success. It's just a great way to think. If I can help the people that come behind me to be even more successful, that just leaves them in good hands. Leave when you need to leave, but leave in the right way. It's so important to do that. Now, tomorrow, I'm gonna share some more with you on what you need to look for in your next position. If you're leaving, you're probably not retiring. You need something else to do. So we're gonna give you some things tomorrow to look for in your next position. Until then, let's make sure that we leave, but we leave with the right heart. We leave in the right way. We'll see you guys tomorrow.